everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. So it's really a pleasure, although we can't be together in the same place. It's a pleasure to have a chance to have a conversation, not even 2 months after it was meant to happen in person. And it's an exciting time because, of course, it's a time when none of us can run the normal community repair activities that we would be running this week, last week, next week. And so it's a time to reflect on what we've done so far and the data we already have and what this can mean for the future. I'm going to try to start presenting now, and I'll ask, just as Ines did, to get confirmation that you can see my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Brilliant. Okay, so I am going to talk to you today about research project and our role in collecting and sharing community repair data, and the role that, together with other organizations, including Repair Cafe Foundation, we are in kind of bringing together this pool of data and make it more meaningful and useful for everyone. But first, something about the Restart Project. So we are a people-powered social enterprise and charity based in London and the UK, fixing our relationship with electronics, which means that we run community repair events, our we call it parties, as you see in the picture, and we inspire people by communicating about repair. We advocate for the right to repair and try to connect the dots between what happens physically at events every weekend, every weekday evening across the world, and what needs to happen so that we can change the context of repair in the future and make products more repairable as opposed to less repairable in coming years. As part of work, we collect quite a lot of data, and this is data about each products that are brought to an event. And because of doing this, we look at barriers to repairing and are able to insights on that. So far, we've had just short of 1,400 events on our platform, and with a lot of impact in terms of the waste prevented, as well as the volunteer contributions from people from around the world.
Hugo,
And,
can
yeah.
I interrupt you shortly?
Yeah.
Sorry. You're sometimes a little bit interrupted, so feel free to repeat something and talk slowly. You're doing really fine by talking slowly, but sometimes I think it's because of our background noise, maybe. You're a bit interrupted. Okay?
Okay.
But you're doing,
Okay.
I mean, you're clear to me until now. Go on.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So you can see, based on our some background noise now. Okay. I hope you can hear me a little bit better now. So we, as you can see, our impact data shows all of collecting the environmental impact of our work, which was the original reason for us to start gathering data about the kind of work that we do. But going forward, we realized that there was quite a lot of useful data about what type of products we were seeing at events, as well as what kind of type of faults we were seeing, and a lot more. And we realized that we weren't really going to be able to look at all of this data by ourselves, and that most importantly, there were other very large communities doing similar work around the world, and that we should all work together so that we would have better data from around the world that we could compile together. And as a result of this, we created at the end of 2017 the Open Repair Alliance, a collective of organizations, including the Repair Cafe Foundation, Anstiftung, the Fix-It Clinic in the US, and iFixit as a technical partner to guide us through what useful data we could all get together. And we create the Open Repair Alliance, which does two main things. One, you probably heard it before, Repair Day. Every year, the third Saturday of the month, we run events all over the world to remind the world about the importance of repairing. And it will be on the 7th of October. More details will be announced soon. And most notably, work together coming up with an open repair data standard to exactly be able to aggregate data from all over the world, collected by thousands and volunteers, able to look at trends and find the insights that could be pushing for of repair worldwide. So everyone knows at community repair events, data is collected while people enthusiastically try to repair things. But there's more going on. Data after the events is uploaded on digital platforms. You can see a screenshot of the restarters.net platform that Restart use, but Martin will mention the Repair Monitor, and Anstiftung in Germany has another platform. But the point about all of these platforms is that they're following the similar approach, working with open data, so that the data can be freely used, reused, and distributed, and we can collaborate, and third parties, researchers, and others interested in these topics can also look at the data, download it, analyze it, and all together we can use it to push for better policies, bringing right to repair and better product designs in the future. And we created a standard exactly because different organizations create different ways, but there are some key aspects of this data that we should all be able to collect in similar, allowing us to aggregate, compare, analyze, join the data. And so at the moment we have pooling, which equals to just over 30,000 repair attempts. We are currently working on updating the data set from the Repair Cafe Foundation, and we'll soon have data, additional data from Anstiftung. And we check that March 2020 would amount approximately 4 repair attempts, and we look forward to increasing these a lot more. You can read a lot more about the standard at the link included, and we'll share the presentation afterwards anyway. Work in progress, because we're collecting some information about the kind of products, about the kind of repair, whether it was repaired or not, or in progress, information about where this happened, which is important because it shows this is real and it's verifiable and comes from a multitude of small roots groups across Europe and across the world, really. You can screenshot of the current downloadable data sets. They're all released in Creative Commons license. And so that means that they can be not just downloaded, but also reutilized by mentioning the source. And the idea is that there's part of the analysis work that we are aiming to do ourselves. There's a lot more on this that third parties, academics, and policymakers, and data enthusiasts can help us do themselves. So we're looking at improving the Open Repair Data Standard, and we are aiming to release in the fourth quarter of 2020 an updated version of as part of the Interreg funded share project. And we'll be looking at improving the type of information we are collecting and making it easier to aggregate and look for trends.
Hugo, can I suggest?
I
suggest maybe you switch off your camera just to enhance the sound a bit? Try and do that. Thank you. I get some signals that you're not so understandable sometimes. We'll try it this way. Okay?
Sorry, if I may, I think also if the other people do not speak, remove their camera, probably all the net will be less charged.
Okay, so that would be, that would be an option.
Apologies for this. As usual, everything sounded and looked great 10 minutes before we started, and then
no worries.
I'm gonna give you just a few insights based on the start part of the data, and then a couple of provocations for inspiring the conversation ahead. So, looking at our data, Restart has a strong focus on, in the context of community repair, on electrical and electronic products. And that can be seen from the spread of the products. And what I find interesting here is that out of the over 15,000 records that we have, there is, sure, some big trends. Laptops and mobiles and small kitchen items are the most common, but there's this long tail of products that often cannot be matched with any easily available commercial repair service. So there's something there, both about potentially future repair business models, but also about the fact that community repair is essential at a time when the range of repair businesses can focus on just some of these product categories, but for many others, there simply isn't an alternative. What we're trying to do at Restart, and hopefully we can then share this knowledge throughout the wider network so that we can collectively improve our analysis, is to work with our volunteers, people that spend time at community repair events, on actually analyzing the data. For example, we did some work on laptops and trying to categorize the type of faults that we see using the wonderful skills of our volunteer community. And this has helped us figure out some of the key trends and doing it in a way that also helps people learn more while we're all doing it. For instance, we found that laptops, the most common issues that we look at are performance, battery, / power issues with screens, and issues with internal storage. And you see there's quite a varying degree of success there that indicates that whenever there is a need for example, a spare part, chances that products will get fixed decrease, particularly then this links with barriers to, which I know Martine will mention in her presentation. And another very interesting finding is that 40% of the laptops that the Restart parties are actually quite old, are older than 6 years old, based on the data that's been supplied by participants. And what this shows is that conversations at policy level on, product lifetimes really need this kind of data, because often they tend to rely on data from corporate sector, where there's a refresh of computers that might happen every 3 to 4 years. Well, the real world works in a very different way. So the fact that we need more repairable and durable products is perfectly explained and proven by the fact that people do want to continue to use their products beyond the 5-year landmark. We supplied some of this data to in preparation to policy papers, and most notably one on that we've done with ECOS and the Right to Repair campaign on the longevity and the repairability of computers. And this brings me to the final point. So we have a real opportunity to contribute with this data and these data flows to campaigning on right to repair and pushing policymakers to consider all kinds of sources of information when they're to make a decision on how repairable a product should be. It's up to us to make this connection stronger and stronger. And we see this as crucial as we can empower community repair groups across the world to see their work not just important in extending the life of 1 or 2 or 20 or 20,000 products in their community, but in changing the way future products will be made. And it's up to us to actually use this as a source of inspiration, which can include increasing the number of groups that actually supply the data to the various platforms, and making sure that as volunteers and experts working in this field, we prioritize analyzing the type of products that are most likely to receive policymaking attention in the near future. For example, starting with smartphones, which thanks in part also to the Right to Repair European campaign, will be one of the next products that the European Commission will be working on. And finally, we want to improve together with the communities behind all of this work, which we need to really deeply thank, because repairing is fun. Collecting data about repair might be slightly less fun or exciting. We need to keep improving the quality of the data that we collect, particularly around the product age. As I mentioned before, it's an excellent example of why we need products that last longer, and also focusing on the key barriers to repair. Sorry, I took too much time already. And here is me, and I look forward to the conversation.
Great, thank you, Hugo, so much for your interesting presentation. There we are lagging a bit behind on time, but I'm still wondering whether James has a pertinent question from the chat, maybe 1 or maximum 2 for Hugo. James?
So the chat's been very quiet so far, so we don't have any questions from the audience yet. But if you have any questions for Hugo or Martine, please do post them in the chat as we go, and we'll address them later.
Great, don't be shy. Okay, then I'll give the floor to Martine. Martine, go for it.
Okay, hello everyone. Very nice to be here, and I am now going to try to share my screen.
It's coming. Yeah, I can see.
Are we there?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm Martine Postma. I'm founder of Repair Café International Foundation. We're based in Amsterdam. And I'll tell you more about Repair Monitor, the tool that we created for data collection during Repair Café meetings. Just very briefly, I think you're all familiar with the Repair Café concept. I created this 10 years ago to bring repairing back into our daily lives. It's a place where you can go with any broken item, and where expert volunteers from the community are there to help you repair them. Repair Café International supports groups around the world, groups of volunteers who want to start their own repair cafe. We provide a digital starter kit, which tells you how to do that. And we put all repair cafes on the world map so that the continuous growth of the network becomes visible. And you can see that at this moment, there is over 2,000 repair cafes worldwide. An average repair cafe group has 1 meeting per month, at which an average of 25 repairs are carried out. So that means that every month, over 2,000 repair meetings are being held and over 50,000 products are being examined. So a lot of repair experience is being gained every month. And we think it makes sense to collect this experience and spread it, share it among the network of repairers so that they can learn from each other and benefit from each other's findings. And this can empower the volunteer repair network as a whole. Partly for this goal, we created the Repair Monitor 3 years ago. This is an online tool which Repair Cafe volunteers can use to register their repair data. And I will now go out of my PowerPoint presentation and into the monitor itself. And I'll quickly walk you through the registration form. So here is a registration form in the Repair Monitor. You can fill out what kind of product is being brought in. So the kind of product, you can also select a category. You can indicate the brand and an estimated year of production. And this is all done at the intake by the hostess and the visitor. Model or type number can be indicated, as well as problem description and probable cause, which will give the repairer an idea where to look at. Then about the repairer can indicate which defect was found and if the product was repaired successfully, or maybe half, maybe an advice was given, or maybe it could not be repaired, and then you can indicate why not. You can also give a grade for repairability of the product on a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being difficult and 10 being easy. And you can indicate if you used repair information. And if yes, you can indicate where it came from a manual, from a manufacturer, or from fellow repairers. And you can give the source, and you can give any suggestions for future repairers of the same product. And the Repair Monitor is available in 4 languages, so you can choose a language. It's available in Dutch and in German and in French and in English. So it can be used internationally. I will now go back to the presentation. Right, so this is a slide of the database. At this moment, some 80 or 90 repair cafes from 10 countries actively contribute to the monitor. And the system now contains information on over 30,000 repairs. And every repair cafe can get an overview of their own results in several visualizations, and they can download the entire data set so that they can learn from other repairers' experience. And at the Repair Cafe Foundation, we regularly analyze the data set to draw overall conclusions. These conclusions can be used as evidence in the plea for more repairable products that fit into the circular economy. Today, this morning, we published a report on the data entered into the monitor last year. And this report is on our website, repaircafe.org/en. And it contains a lot of information about popular products, popular brands, repairability of specific brands, and obstacles to repair, etc. Just to give you an idea, this is a top 10 of barriers that repairers mentioned when a repair did not or not completely succeed. And you can see that the non-availability of spare parts is the most mentioned reason, although it's not always clear from the answer whether the missing part was not available at all or that it just wasn't available during the repair session. Nonetheless, we believe this is valuable information that can be used in the plea for more repairable products. And this is another graph from the report. these are the most popular brands represented in the Repair Monitor, arranged by their success rate in repair cafes. The ones on top are mostly household appliances. Miele, that's mainly vacuum cleaners at the repair cafe, and Philips, mainly coffee makers. And the ones at the bottom are different kinds of products. Sony is much display and sound equipment, CD players, headphones, and speakers. And Samsung, that's mostly laptops, tablets, and smartphones in the Repair Monitor. And these are the top 10 most popular products brought to repair cafes. As you can see, the coffee maker is the most popular product, followed by trousers, vacuum cleaners, lamps, and bicycles. And we also see many clocks, laptop computers, sewing machines, radios, and coats or jackets. Now, these are some very basic conclusions, but the report contains much more information and much more figures and graphs. So please download the document. It's available in Dutch too. It'll give you an insight into what happens at repair cafes and what could be improved in product design and in regulation and also in consumer behavior. Let's not forget that. And the last thing that I would like to say is we try to analyze the data regularly, but we can't do as much as we would like to because we're a very small organization. And therefore, the collaboration within the Open Repair Alliance is so important for us because this is a way to make more impact with the data and get a bigger picture. So that's all for me for now. I'll quit the screen sharing.
Thank you very much, Martine.
Where are we? Here we are.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. So I think I saw some questions pass in the chat. I think that James will definitely be able to pass some of them on to us.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so we have a few questions. The first came from Jakob, who asked why there don't seem to be any appliances such as washing machines on the list that Ugo presented earlier on.
It's a very good point, and it's because all of the work that's done at community repair events around the world, from fix-it clinics in the US to restart parties in London, and repair cafes all over the world, is done on things that people can bring to the events. And so large household appliances are not transportable, and therefore we don't have data on those. One idea, however, is that the same open repair data standard could be used by people working on other types of products outside community repair to log and share the type of repairs and the barriers that they are experiencing. And that's why we love the idea to work on an open standard, exactly because it could lead to further extension.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay, there was a second question from Georgia, who asked, it's a question for Martine and Ugo. Georgia asks whether the reports that you both mentioned are available for download and where those are available.
Ugo.
Oh, sure. Well, on openrepair.org, there is a link to download all the data, which includes all the data sets, restarts data sets, repair cafes data sets, and all the others. And occasionally, when there's analysis on the data, it gets published on the website as a blog post.
Martine, is that all you want?
Yeah, we do the same too, and drafts that I presented from the report are available via our website, via the link that I shared in the presentation containing the analysis report and the graphs and figures and everything.
Thank you.
Okay, questions keep coming in. So the next was from Jan Larosse, who asked, it's a question for Martine. Martine, what is the next step for the repair monitor?
Well, at this point, we're just trying very hard to be able to continue the system, which is quite a challenge because we have no funding at this moment. So that is really a problem for us because it's a system that's worth maintaining and improving, and a lot can be done with the results. And we would very much like to be able to continue it, but as it is at the moment, I have no budget for it, and I'm well, I've been talking to many people and within the government in the Netherlands, and I hope that we will get funding for it, but nothing is certain, so I cannot say anything about. We have plans enough, but it's well, the situation is very difficult at the moment.
So any input for potential funders? Fine, Martine.
Related to that question was a second question from Rob, who was asking, how is it possible to participate in the repair monitor?
That's very easy. You can go to repairmonitor.org/en if you want to get an account in English, and you can just apply for an account, and we will activate it, and then you can start sharing data within the monitor.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a question from Kai. Apologies if I pronounced that incorrectly. This is for Ugo and Martine about the Open Repair Alliance. The question is, are there partners involved in the Alliance who are making step-by-step guidelines for repairing specific products? Let me know if that's specific enough, Kai. Thanks.
So not directly as part of the Alliance per se, like the focus of the Alliance is on the data, but each of the organization is also working on other aspects, and particularly at Restart, as part of the collaboration that we have within the broader Share Repair network as well. We are expanding our existing wiki, which is aimed at community repairers around the world to share tips specifically on product type by product type, rather than creating specific guides per individual brand model. What that means is that we're trying to not replicate what's already done on YouTube or on iFixit, and actually focus on more broader range of tips that can be helpful outside of a specific model. And this is currently in English, but as part of the project, we'll be expanding it into a multilingual repository. And I should also say that the restarters.net platform, that I didn't go into too much detail showing how we upload data, but it's used to manage repair events, and groups from a wide range of community networks are involved. And it also has a very lively community forum called Talk, where groups discuss issues ranging from right to repair to how to fix a specific thing. So there's a lot going on there, and I encourage all of you to join it.
Great, thanks.
Plenty of questions, they keep coming. I'll try and group them thematically when I can, but my attention's only so big, so there may be some repetition, but I'll try to avoid it. Yvonne has a question for Hugo and Martine again. Yvonne asks, can policy measures support your initiatives? And if so, what would be highest on your wish list? What would help most?
What exactly does she mean?
Yvonne, feel free to clarify in the chat, or perhaps if easier,
Or maybe if you want to take the floor.
Yeah, unmute your mic and show your camera and you can ask directly.
Hello, yeah, sorry, it took a while to unmute. So I'm working for the Benelux Union. That's the cooperation between Belgium, the Netherlands and Luxembourg. And our primary cooperation partners are the ministry. So I'm trying to look at it from a governmental point of view and just trying to see if policies that governments would put into place could help you in your endeavors, could help you sort of take next steps. Could policy measures force things and bring them forward? And then if so, what would you need most? What would you need? How could policy, governmental measures, laws help you in your projects?
Well, of course, policy measures can towards more sustainability, more reparability of products are good, and they would, measures to promote reparability, like forcing companies to have more spare parts or to publish repair manuals, that would be great. And that would certainly help the community repair events. But that's not so easy, and that's what we've been working for and striving for many years. But that would help.
I would like to make the bridge to the Right to Repair campaign, so maybe Hugo can say something about that.
Sure. Thanks, Ines. In addition to what Martine is saying, so there's various policies that we, as the European Right to Repair campaign, we are advocating for. Some are at the European EU level, and so these are particularly for a universal right to repair, we need eco-design policies to focus as much as possible to a universal access to repair manuals and spare parts for all products for many years after they are off the market. There's been some initial success with some appliances receiving first mention in eco-design regulations that will become effective as of next year, so that professional repairers will access repair manuals and spare parts, while people like the volunteers at community repair events wouldn't have access to all of this. And so we'd like a lot more, as well as better ways to compare whether a product is more or less repairable. And so this is about consumer rights and can also happen best at European level. But if you look at what can happen also at national level, there can be not so much policies that alter the design of a product. Those need to be agreed at global or at least European level, but policies that might reduce the cost of repair in individual states by, for example, having financial incentives, fiscal incentives, or reduction for the cost of labor for repair, or try to limit the pricing of spare parts, because as more manufacturer will have to make spare parts available thanks to upcoming right to repair regulation. The risk is that their cost that they charge is high, and so even individual states can actually have a role to play in that respect. And more information on all of this can be found at repair.eu, which is the website for the European campaign, and we'll be happy to engage with you there as well.
I also fed in the URLs of both Right to Repair and Recht op Repareren, which is the Belgian branch of the Right to Repair campaign. And I'd like to add that we have also formulated a lot of policy recommendations, which we are very happy to share. Thank you.
Okay, we have a few more questions in the queue, and I'm aware of slight time constraint, so I will try to bundle a couple together. So there was a question from Jeremy who asked Ugo and Martine, have you gathered data about repairs from professional repairers as well, or just the general public? He'd be interested to see data from professionals. There was a question about translation. So when somebody inputs text into the repair monitor in Dutch or French, is it then translated into English so it can be joined with international platforms? And finally, are there any manufacturers who are interested or involved in cooperating to improve their product design? So just to recap, that's data from repair professionals, that's how is translation managed, and are any manufacturers interested or involved?
Okay, we have no data from professionals. It's just volunteer repairers. And the second question was about the translations, I think. No, unfortunately, everything that's being put in, typed in manually is not translated, but the fields that are that can be clicked in the monitor, like the product types, and they will be translated into 4 languages. But so everything that works with a drop-down menu is translatable, but there are no active translations for whatever you type actively into the monitor. And as for manufacturers involved, we have had some good discussions with Philips about the design of the Senseo coffee maker, which is the #1 top product in repair cafes, and that the product that our network has most knowledge about. We've had contact with Philips for a long time now, and we've been at their headquarters with a group of repairers giving advice on some changes in the design, which would make it longer lasting and better repairable. And they were interested, they were very friendly, but it's not so that the design has been changed in the meantime. So it's things like this take a lot of time.
Just to add to that, we don't have data from professional repairers. However, our partners Anstiftung have published on their website some initial data from the German Wangeroof network of professional repairers, which only shows, however, the as far as we have seen so far, like the type of successful repairs that have occurred, and it shows like the division per product type or product category. And the question there is a challenge in the sense that repair businesses might not be so keen to show the repairs that they are not successful at performing. But we should find, and if anyone here has ideas on how to do this, please do get in touch. Find ways to use the pool of information that repair businesses have, which is massive, in a cooperative way rather than a competitive way to highlight some of the barriers that they are experiencing. So that would be extremely interesting. As Restart, we're not engaging directly with manufacturers in an ongoing way. There's been some minor interest in the past. I would like to stress that the importance of this data is that it shows that engaged citizens are able not just to fix, but also to document the things that manufacturers deep down already know, but they're often trying to keep secret from public awareness. So there's a lot of discussions around, planned obsolescence, but what does it actually mean? Sometimes it means it's planned so that you plan not to make a part available, or you plan to decide a price that is completely unrealistic for something. What we're showing is that it's possible to have access to better information that should guide even policymakers in requiring manufacturers to make this information available in the future. If they're so confident about their products being so good and repairable, well, why don't they share it?
Great. James, is there anything else in the chat?
Yeah, perfect. We have a couple of questions, one from Kai, one from Rob, about actually running events. Kai was keen to know whether the Alliance is working out steps to go digital with repair cafes in light of the current coronavirus situation. And Rob had a question about hosting repair cafes and whether repair cafes tend to use a fixed address because often they run out of time when fixing particular items that come to events. And those are the final two questions I think we'll have time for.
So about the fixed place, yes, most repair cafes do have a fixed place. And sometimes it happens that they run out of time and that they need more time. And then sometimes they try to solve that problem in a pragmatic way. A repairer might take the object home and do a repair at home, or might invite the visitor to come to his home, or but that's just for everyone to decide on the individual level. And what was the other question?
The other question was about whether repair cafes are now happening online because offline events aren't possible.
Several have taken the initiative to have online sessions, and there have been several experiments and also successful, I believe. And Fix-It clinics in the US have also been practicing that kind of thing. But it's not the same. It's not the same as being together at the table and seeing things for yourself and having the experience that something can actually be opened where you thought that it couldn't be, and with the right tools and with the right guidance from an expert volunteer. So it's a very difficult time for repair cafes and other repair events right now.
Okay. Thank you. Is there maybe one last question, or do we wrap up here, James? Sorry, yes, Rosalie?
Sorry. Could I just add something to the last questions?
Sure.
A question on online repair cafes and repair cafes in Corona times. Just to add that...
Maybe present yourself shortly, Rosalie?
Yeah, okay. I am Rosalie Hintz from Netwerk Bewust Verbruiken. So also one of the partners organizing this online seminar, and more specifically I work on the supporting of the repair cafes and the Right to Repair campaign. But I just wanted to say that at the end of May we are planning to organize a webinar for Belgian repair cafes on this question of how to organize your repair cafe in Corona times, what measures to take, and also what are the experiences with online repair events. So that's coming up for the people who are listening and who are active in a Belgian repair cafe.
Great. Keep an eye on the website repairshare.be.
And I know that James has been mostly moderating, but he actually has run an online meeting just a few days ago, sharing experiences from across the global community on exactly this topic. So perhaps, James, if you have anything to add to what Martine and Rosalie were saying, this would be perfect.
Thanks, Ugo. Yeah, so like Ugo said, I worked for the Restart project with Ugo, and we ran a webinar a few days ago about running repair events online. So we heard from many of the people Martine mentioned, such as Fix-It clinics in the US, or Repair Cafe in Sweden, who are now doing this. And I'm more than happy to share the notes from that session for anyone who's interested, and perhaps it could help feed into the call that you're organizing, Rosalie. One thing that we found was that some groups are trying to adapt the offline repair event format to an online format, but that there are some challenges involved in that process. And it's interesting to discuss how those challenges change the dynamic of these events and who the events are for. At the same time, some other groups, including ourselves at Restart, are organizing different types of online activity to try and replace the offline events that can't happen, to try and keep everyone connected and repairing. So I will put a note to those notes in the chat in a second.
Great. And we'll also send a small report with the presentations and with some links that have been proven relevant through this conversation. That's okay with you. So yeah, stay in touch via our website, repairshare.be, the Restart platform. And I think James would be normally feeding in some URLs now in the chat, but we'll definitely also put them in the mail that will follow this meeting. I think we can wrap up here, unless there's some really urgent messages from someone. Okay, thanks. So yeah, thank you very much for these really interesting presentations and for all the questions and the discussion. This is the first webinar that we have pulled out of the planned conference. And as this was such a success, I think there will be some other webinars following. So we'll keep you posted. And if you have any comments or questions, don't hesitate to contact us. And thank you again, and very nice afternoon. And stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Thanks.